Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Kriatsulis, and I want to talk today about something that's been on my mind quite a bit recently, the concept of body acceptance. I support the body acceptance movement and the body positivity movement wholeheartedly. People behind those movements are doing incredible work, and our world is better off because of those people. But when I sit across from my clients, all of whom have eating disorders, and as you may know, I also am in recovery, and they say to me, Jennifer, how do I accept my body when I absolutely hate it? I loathe my body. I disgust it. How do I go from that to accepting it, to loving it? How do I go from wanting to disappear because I'm so embarrassed by my body, or feeling like I'm not worthy of respect because of my body? How do I go from those feelings to acceptance? I myself have grappled with these questions for more than half of my life. And one thing that I think is really important to point out is that, this idea of we either hate our bodies or we love our bodies, it's so black and white. And whether you have an eating disorder or not, I'm pretty sure you've had moments when you've accepted or maybe have come close to accepting, and moments when you've hated, wanted to change, felt like you couldn't live in your skin. So how do we go from hate to acceptance? Something that I've been working on in my yoga therapy practice with my clients and in my own life for a really long time now is the idea of hate, tolerate, liberate. So there has to be a space, a process that happens in between hate and acceptance. And I call that space tolerate or tolerance. It's where we learn to tolerate our bodies. It's where we soften the edges around the hate and the disgust and the loathing. One way that we can learn to tolerate our bodies is with yoga, right? The physical practice, the asana practice, by its very nature, we are in our bodies in different shapes. And one time, perhaps, it may feel intolerable to be in a forward fold and feel your stomach against your thighs and your thighs against your stomach. And over time, with repetition, with practice, that hate feeling, that intolerance can shift to tolerance. And so I work with myself and with my clients on degrees of tolerance. We talk about how deep the hate is. What would a little bit of tolerance look like? And then we find a shape, a yoga pose, to help that person, that individual, feel a little bit of tolerance, a little less hate, and a little bit more being okay with their body in that particular shape. And little by little, we test out the degrees of tolerance. And over time, we can become more tolerant of our body. As we become more tolerant and we experiment with degrees of toleration through different yoga poses and different experiences in our lives, the charge that comes with hate, with disgust, with loathing, it can lessen. And when that charge lessens, we kind of move a little bit closer to feeling liberated from the hell that happens in our mind, the constant nagging in our minds about our bodies and how awful they are and how big they are and how wide they are and how mushy they are and whatever adjectives you like to use. I think that one of the biggest things about body acceptance is accepting that we will always flow in and out of hate, tolerate, and liberate. When we let go of the belief and effort to accept ourselves 100% of the time and realize that the work is in responding to hate in ways that then move us to tolerate and toward liberate, versus being stuck in the hate, then we are in process with body acceptance. And it's no longer a black and white thing, I either hate or love my body. right? But it's a fluid process. It's being alive. It's experimenting with different shapes, literally and physically and metaphorically. How can I come to accept the feeling of my stomach on my thighs? How can I come to accept my arms, my face, whatever it is? First, we need to tolerate what, for a long time, was intolerable. So if you're curious about learning how to tolerate your body first and move toward a space of acceptance, feel free to get in touch. I would love to talk to you a little bit about how I do that with myself and with my clients. And I would love to offer you the ability to begin experiencing the flow between hate and tolerate and liberate, instead of being stuck in hate and feeling like acceptance, liberation is just an impossible reality that is not meant for you. Because I promise it is. It really, really is. It's just accepting that sometimes it's not constant. But more and more, as we can tolerate our bodies for longer periods of time, right, and we neutralize the charge of hate, we can feel liberation. We can feel our minds quiet down and feel more in sync with our bodies.